Hello everyone, this is Jasmine Gaines. Here is my submission for my project. I researched the organization CODA. This here is their logo. So you have the mother doing the I love you sign and then a child signing back family. CODA stands for Children of Deaf Adults. The mission of the organization is to celebrate the unique heritage and multicultural identities of hearing adults with deaf parents. The purpose of the organization strives to achieve this mission via conferences, retreats, publications, scholarships, resource development, and fundraising to enrich the experience of CODAs. CODA was established in 1983. Millie Brother is the founder of CODA. Millie is part of the 90% of hearing children born to deaf adults. She found that her and many other hearing children of deaf adults needed that extra support in operating in two different cultures, being the deaf world and the hearing world, thus establishing the CODA organization. Millie also attended Gallaudet University, and while she was staying at Gallaudet, she noticed that there was some type of distinction between her versus the deaf world and then how she operated in the hearing world as well. So she decided to send out a survey for other CODAs, just asking them if they experienced some of the same issues that she had experienced, and that's how CODA came about. The CODA organization has now grown into the CODA International Organization. The conferences are held yearly for CODA, and they have been held in Arizona, Australia, California, Canada, Colorado, Florida, Germany, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, North Carolina, Reading, Spain, Texas, Virginia, Washington State, and Wisconsin. CODAs have come from different countries to be a part of the organization. They've come from Argentina, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, England, Finland, Germany, Holland, Ireland, Israel, Japan, the Netherlands, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. There have been additional gatherings of CODAs. They have taken place in the continent of Africa, and then in Australia, as well as the continent Canada, England, Finland, Germany, Greece, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, and Sweden. So that's how this has grown. Her thinking that, she was doing something on a smaller scale has grown into something that has crossed over internationally. So in order for you to join the CODA organization, there are two requirements. You must have a parent or parents or legal guardian or guardians that are deaf. And then there is a $40 annual fee for U.S. CODAs. Depending on what continent or country you are coming from, that will declare your annual fee. So some of the fees are a little less, some are a little bit more, and then half of that fee price will go directly towards a scholarship that Millie has set up, a Millie Brothers Scholarship, as well as the CODA Scholarship. Supporting members are welcome. So these supporting members are individuals that do not have deaf parents, but they are welcome to join the CODA organization as well, and many people do that. The latest events have taken place in Fontainebleau, France, which is the last conference this past year in 2019. And then there's a Mother-Father Deaf Day taking place the end of this month on the 26th, last Sunday of this month. 2020 CODACon will be held in San Diego, California. That is a play on Comic-Con, which takes place every so often, and people show up wearing DC comic gear as well as Marvel comic gear. So this year it will be a CODACon where they will wear that same type of gear. It'll take place the first night, June 23rd, in Anaheim, California at Disneyland. And then the next evening they will meet San Diego Zoo, and later on in the evening they will do a haunted tour. And as I previously talked about the scholarships, Millie Brother offers a scholarship through her name, and then there are two $3,000 scholarships that will be rewarded every year to CODA applicants. The benefits interpreters provide for CODAs. There were not any organizations like CODA established before 1983, and then as we know and we've been learning that interpreting is a newer profession. So in that event, A lot of people, born prior to had to play the dual roles of being their parent's interpreter as well as just being a son and daughter to their parent. CODAs sign an ASL, PSE, home signs, and some do not sign at all. Nevertheless, they are the children of deaf adults. So I interviewed Diane Moore Summerlin and Jeff Moore. These two are CODAs themselves, and Diane Moore Summerlin is my mother. Jeff Moore is my uncle. So here is excerpts from our interviews that I did in speaking to them. Diane Moore Summerlin writes, I lived as a CODA before ASL grew to what it is now today. Sign language hasn't always been viewed as quote unquote cool, but I was fortunate to have been raised with proud deaf parents. I'm the oldest of four, so my earliest childhood experiences was interpreting for my parents at a very young age. When it was time to pay a bill, go to the doctors, or if anything needed repairs, I would call and be the communication between the hearing world and my dad and mom. Going to the deaf club, seeing all the deaf adults, I just assumed everybody else's parents were deaf as well. It wasn't until I was a little older in school when people began to question me, why do your parents talk with their hands? I would immediately respond, well, what's wrong with your parents and why don't they know how to talk with theirs? I never knew to be embarrassed because this was all I knew. As I got older, I would hear stories from other CODAs that felt like having to be their parents' interpreter caused resentment between them, but I saw how active my parents were in the deaf community, and I wanted to do my part in making sure the world did not view my parents or anyone else in the community as quote unquote deaf and dumb. My parents have been gone for over a decade, but I will never lose my pride, love, or identity as a CODA. My uncle's interview was really funny, and I had to end up taking some parts out. But he writes, my experiences were different from my sister's. Since she was the oldest and more mature, she had to be more structured in speaking and be more patient with people. Me and my brother, on the other hand, got into many physical fights with people who made fun of our parents. I didn't allow anyone to disrespect them. We were always very well taken care of. We could have benefited from an interpreter back then, though. My teachers and parents were never able to communicate. They would tell me, we know your parents are deaf and dumb, so we'll just have to talk to you. I even tried to tell my teacher, if you had a TTY, you could talk to them. I wanted them to know my parents were deaf, but they had their own voice. Outside people would frustrate me, but I was never embarrassed by who my parents were. My parents always made sure we were very well dressed and fed. Mommy had a college degree from Gallaudet, and Daddy made sure we never went on government assistance. I figured because we had nice cars in the house that the kids were actually jealous. So every time somebody would say anything about my parents, I would tell them, but your parents are the ones struggling. Now that I look back on it, it might not have been the nicest thing, but I've always been proud of who we are and where we come from. They instill pride and pour greatness into us, and I am proud to be a CODA. So here is CODA's sister organization. CODA Camp was invented by Bert Pickel, who's a CODA himself. It was established in 1998, and these are kids of deaf adults, and their ages range from 9 to 16 years old. So anybody who has a parent or grandparent that are deaf can attend. If they have a sibling that is deaf, they can come, but the deaf a sibling has to attend as well. The camp is organized and ran by CODAs. So everybody you meet there, every adult that you see there will be a CODA. It's $220 per camper. And then if anybody outside of Ohio wants to fly in, you can. It's just an extra $50 for CODA camp to transport your child from the airport to the CODA camp. And then here is our last slide. So here we have my Aunt Christine, Uncle Freddie, my mom, and Uncle Jeff, who are all CODAs. Here below you have my granny and granddaddy, who are at some type of deaf event, signing and eating and fellowshipping with their friends. Here up in this corner, you have me sitting on my granddaddy's lap, my mother, my little brother, and my granny. And at the very bottom, I thought this was a really neat picture. This is a TTY, and my grandmother speaking to somebody on the TTY. So that brings us to our last slide that I wanted you all to see. This video is a little lengthy, but I felt the most important part of the video happened here at the end, and so we'll just view that.
Never met before. It means being together, one, the same Tammy.
I'm Coda.
I'd like to see more CODAs come to conference, and I know when they're ready, they will.
To grow my international family.
I would like to see you here with us.
More CODAs of color. Que CODA France se développe. I would love to see the CODAs in Iran experience this.
We are CODA.
And now I have a sense of pride. I didn't used to have a sense of pride. Now I have a sense of pride of being a CODA.
Yes, I am CODA. I am not hearing and I am not deaf. I am CODA. That's what CODA means to me.